Hello. This presentation is meant to supplement this graphic design reading in order to help you better understand how these 20 rules of making good design can be relevant to your artist report project. Some of these rules will be more helpful for you than others, so I will focus on just 10 of the most important ones for you to utilize. Rules are meant to be broken. That's how innovation can occur. But since you are not a graphic designer, it would be best for you to follow them. Graphic ideas are concepts that can reinforce and support your artist, their work, perspective, philosophy, and/or point of view. For example, here, the graphic lines in this design illustrate the direction of movement and the sense of falling and weight that are integral components of contact improvisation. This is an important rule to follow, especially from young designers like yourself. Avoid adding effects and elements just because they're fun or cool looking. Decorating, like adding color or shapes, without a good reason will make your presentation less effective. Don't add things just because you can. Have a reason, one that graphically supports the visual image. You can see here that the red and green circles serve no real purpose and have no clear relationship to the image or the text. They distract from the overall message. This rule speaks to continuity, or an internal logic, which for your project translates to continuity across your slideshow. That is how a template is designed. If you choose to use a template, choose one that is simple, to which you can add your own design ideas. I suggest simple light, simple dark, slate, streamline, spearmint, or luxe. For continuity, pick a color palette, pick a font or two, and stick with these. Here are a couple of designs that show how speaking with one voice works well. This is a really important rule. Use only one or two font styles, and then play with the font weight and italics. Also, consider fonts that are appropriate to your subject. Don't use fonts that are overly casual or playful or hard to read. These are good examples of why too many fonts can be confusing. This rule is about creating a visual hierarchy, leading the viewer into and around the information in the slide. In this layout, the viewer has no clue where to start, what to look at, and how to know what is the most important. Another problem with this design is that it fails to use a grid for layout choices, creating a sense of randomness. It looks haphazard and thrown together. Here, the images are organized in a clear hierarchy, with the portrait claiming your attention first. In the smaller images lined up below, the movement inside one image leads to the next. Notice how in the photo on the far left, the dancers are looking to the right. Their movement leads the viewer to the second photo where this directionality is repeated. The final image leads the eye back to the center. Choose your color palette carefully. Neutral colors might be a better choice than brilliant reds and blues, for example. Your images will be the most important thing on your slide, so don't compete with them. Keep your color choices simple. Let the images direct your color choice, and don't let your color choices distract from the main idea. Less is always better than more. This is related to rule number 2, communicate, don't decorate. Here, the image and text are strong and simple. The design features are minimal. Notice the asymmetry of the design. This is another really important rule. You don't need to fill up every inch of every slide. This is one rule that is interesting to consider, but not very relevant to your own project. This is obvious. Your text should be easy to read, legible, high in contrast, and not too fancy. This is another rule that you likely don't need to be concerned with. This rule of design is about creating movement and dynamics, which usually means a balanced use of asymmetry and negative space. Contrast is important for both legibility and to help lead the viewer's eye around the page. In this example, the font is one style, the color palette is drawn from the photograph, and the use of contrasting light and dark fonts makes it easy to read. We can skip this rule. This rule asks you to use your own eye rather than being too concerned with measuring for accuracy. This rule is simple for you. Don't use stock images. Here's another rule we can ignore for now. As we've already learned, good design gets the viewer's eyes to move around the page. This rule is not relevant for you. Pay attention to this rule. Symmetry can be used effectively, but to use it as your default is a big mistake. Symmetry is static, stable, limiting, and according to this author, the ultimate evil. It is best to just avoid it. When everything is centered, it's boring. Asymmetry creates movement, and after all, that's what your slide presentation will be about. I hope this presentation has been helpful for you as you begin designing your artist report on Google Slides.